This is Movietone. Leslie Mitchell reporting. The curtain rises on London's Victory Parade as their Majesties leave Buckingham Palace for the saluting base in the Mall. The captain's escort of the Household Cavalry was in attendance, and the royal procession went by an indirect route in order that the crowds might see and cheer their king and queen. Meanwhile, other personalities were already arriving in the Mall. Our great war leader was there, of course, to enjoy the celebrations in full, and with him was Mr. Attlee, the Prime Minister. Mr. Churchill lost no time in renewing acquaintance with many of those who served with him in the attaining of victory. The huge crowds who'd been assembling all night gave their Majesties a real victory welcome as the royal procession moved on through the streets towards the saluting base. Hours and hours of patient waiting now had their reward. Rejoicing was off the ration. Visitors had come from all over the world to be present at Britain's V-Day. Among them, the boy king Faisal of Iraq, who was accompanied by the regent, and Princess Juliana of the Netherlands. First stage of the parade itself was a display by masked pipers of Scottish and Irish regiments who marched and counter-marched. As you can see, it was a spectacular show, and obviously political differences were forgotten as all parties prepared to celebrate the common victory. The mechanized column was already on its way. Having set out from Regent's Park, it circled a wide area before arriving at the Mall. Its route led through many of London's devastated areas, places where war had meant days and nights of terror. Just over a year ago, the people celebrated their deliverance. Today, they honored the men who made it possible. And what better place to do them honor than from their own streets in their own capital? London, the center of the empire. London, battered but triumphant. Meanwhile, at Marble Arch, the second column was assembling. The column of men and women without their machines. The people, Londoners, and the visitors who had flocked in from all parts of the country had turned out to cheer. Back once more to the mechanized column, now at Parliament Square and moving on towards Whitehall. on to Trafalgar Square, and from there down the Mall, where the King waits to salute the men and review the machines which brought us victory. Heading the parade were Allied leaders from many nations who had planned and fought together. Men like Monty, whose name will forever be linked with those of the men he commanded. And the great parade was on. Spit and polish in place of the mud and dust of battle as the mechanized units rolled down the Mall. Amongst this great array of fighting strength, the courage and fortitude of those at home was not forgotten. The Land Army, the National Fire Service, the Transport Services, these and many others were fully represented. Also taking part in the procession was a Movietone sound recording car, just one of a fleet which saw service on many battlefronts. Then came the marching columns. What a magnificent display it all was, the largest ever staged in the capital. But the 20,000 who took part were representatives of countless millions of others, a token force to receive an empire's thanks for victory. Pride of place was given to our allies. Leading the marching column came the Americans. And behind them, representatives of other countries whose deeds will ever be an example of courage and fortitude, both in battle and under the horrors of occupation. From the Empire, men from India, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. But perhaps the biggest moment of all was when our own boys appeared, the men who have fought our battles the world over. If victory is to be crowned with lasting peace, Britain must remain strong. A new army is required to keep their ranks filled. They have won us victory, now the responsibility is ours. We must not and we cannot fail them now. So the great procession drew towards its close. But as in the mechanized column, the men and women of the home front were there, people who kept on working, whatever the danger, turning out the weapons, running our transport, delivering our food. Yes, they were all there, the ordinary people. It was their day, a day of rejoicing and of thanks. And when it was all over, the crowds moved on, and what matter if it did rain? This was Victory Day.